Would you join me for the final class here in Amorgos? I do want to end our practice by maybe ending a little earlier with the physical portion and turning the video off and doing a mantra. The mantra we'll be doing is good for protection and is especially used before travel. So I thought it would be good to end with that particular mantra since we're all going to be traveling a long distance back home either today or tomorrow. So today what I want to focus on, talking about the Greek and Indian myths, is comparing Hercules, the god of protection, who was a great warrior. He had a lot of strength and stamina, and compare that with Hanuman, who also had a lot of strength and stamina and was also a great warrior in the Indian mythology. Now, personally, I've always compared these two characters. However, when I researched, was there any gods between these myths that would be in comparison, I actually discovered that a lot of scholars look at Hercules as being compared to Krishna. And I was like, huh? That threw me a little bit. So I'll just tell you what I discovered. So I'll tell you a little bit about Hercules first. Hercules and Hanuman were both considered what's called kind of demigods, because one parent was a god and another parent was a mortal. So for instance, with Hanuman, there's different stories of it actually, depending on if from northern or southern India. I'm going with the first one because that's the one I've heard the most, was that his dad was Vayu, the god of wind, and he was with the celestial nymph, and thus Hanuman was born. Now he was born half monkey because the nymph had been cursed, and she had been told through the curse that she would have a child that was part monkey. The other southern India story of Hanuman is that he was the son of Lord Shiva and Mohini. So there's two different versions of that, but I'm going with the first one because that's what I've always heard. I believe, well, I'll leave that out. That's a whole nother derailment. So if you look at Hercules, Hercules was the son of Zeus. And you know, whenever Zeus was cheating around on his wife Hera, Hera would seek revenge when she discovered it. Well, Zeus had this child Hercules with another woman. And Athena had brought the baby to them, and Hera was nursing Hercules. And as she was nursing Hercules, he was so strong, he would suck her breast so hard that it hurt. And when she would snap him off, the milk sprayed. I did not make up this story, so don't blame me. The milk sprayed and created the Milky Way. So remember, I mentioned the river being the Milky Way between this reality and the netherworld. But there was another story regarding the Milky Way's creation, and that was from Hera. So as Hercules grew, he had all this strength, he had these superpowers, because not only was his father the god, but he had been nursed as a baby from Hera. So as he was a toddler and they were keeping him, Hera was going to seek her revenge, and she sent 2 snakes to his crib. Hercules woke up with the snakes, grabbed them, one in each hand, started shaking them, and when they came back in to see him, the snakes were dead and completely limp. He had killed them with his own hands and was playing with them like baby toys. Therefore, he wasn't killed. Anyway, he grows up, and he's required to do 12 different labors. One of those labors was killing a 9-headed monster. What was the other one you told me last night, Gabe? This one I didn't know about as much, but he was telling me this one.
Lion.
He killed a lion.
Hydra lion.
Now I'm looking at you.
I
Anyway,
know.
there's 12 different ones. He did all these different things.
Cyclops in there, I think.
I think there is.
I think there is
One
something
of the
about
Poseidon's
Cyclops.
sons.
Anyway, that's kind of a side note anyway. But he had these 12 labors he had to conquer. And he's known as the God of protection of mankind. Now, there was one point where he was on his trek. He did lots of adventures. And when he was on a trek through the desert, the desert is like, there's no escape from the sun. And he got angry at the sun because there was no escape. And he had a bow and arrow, and he shot the arrow up to the sun. Now, I look at that story and I look back at Hanuman, going back to the Indian myths. Hanuman, as a child, looked up at the sun and thought it was a big piece of fruit. And he had superpowers. He could leap, he could fly, he could make himself big, he could make himself small. He was very, very devoted to Lord Rama. And he became a great warrior. In fact, once Lord Rama's wife had been kidnapped by a demon king, he was the one that actually seeked her out, leapt across India to Sri Lanka, discovered she was there, built the bridge, took all of the army with him to save her and bring the two lovers back together. There's another story of Hanuman where he goes to bring a mountain back with herbs, healing herbs, back to Lord Rama. There's always great stories about Hanuman. So you can see how I like to compare those two characters. Now, Krishna, we mentioned him the other day, he's known for love, and he's known for compassion, and he's known for beauty, but he's also known for protection as well. And so scholars often compare these two particular. Christy, do you mind giving me some water? I am like that. So dehydrated this morning. Thank you so much. And I feel like you snacking. And there's a story about Krishna, who he went on many, many adventures too. But the story of Krishna that relates back to Hercules, thank you so much, is that his uncle tried to kill Krishna, but Krishna survived that. There's great stories about Krishna. He was very mischievous as a little boy. I told you he played the flute, and all the milkmaids were drawn to him because he was so beautiful. And he had all these gopis around him, but he fell madly in love with Radha. So even though he had all these women around him, he was devoted to Radha. So what's interesting that I discovered about the scholars comparing him to Hercules to Krishna is this. Remember I mentioned the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Well, scholars say, listen to this, Hercules is actually from the clan of Hadi. I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, that's so fascinating. So anyway, they could be compared to both within these Indian myths. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in child's pose, and we're going to bring some of these things into our practice today. I think I'm going to turn away from the sun today. Go ahead and drop over into child's pose, and you can take one or the other expression. Perhaps you want to create an egg shape with your spine where it's slightly rounded, resting on the brow, arms wrapped around your legs, hands resting on the floor beside the feet. You may prefer arms extended. Thighs being together and allowing the belly to drape over can bring in some nice compression to help with our digestive system. But I know if your arms are extended, some people like to splay the knees a little bit and sink in between. So you can pick one or the other. And take a moment just to settle into your body. To take deep sips of breath.
Using the breath to center your mind, to center yourself. And feel free to use the deep diaphragmatic breath, or if you prefer a light ujjayi breath.
Jai means victory. And these particular gods were often victorious in their feats, in their adventures, in their battles. And we use this type of breath to help to gain victory over our mind, to help us to gain some self-control, so that we're not being reactive, so that we're not so disheveled.
And breath is something we often take for granted. But the breath holds power. And the Yoga Sutras say that the more we're practiced in the discipline of yoga and meditation, that we too can attain superpowers. And there's a whole list of these things listed in the sutras, and one of those is developing supernatural strength. So tap into your own inner power. Inhale, extend your arms out in front of you. Rock up to hands and knees. And imagine you're at the center of a large clock and you're facing 12. We're going to walk the hands over to the right side, keeping them shoulder distance apart. The right hand will be the short hand of the clock. And the left hand is going to extend out to that imaginary 1. And you're going to drip halfway down. Suction cup your hands to the floor, pushing the right hand forward, drawing the left hand back if you want extra. But it is early in the day. This may be plenty. So please don't overdo. I mentioned yesterday, we never want to force the body into anything. But it's okay to sometimes force the breath. So let the breath reign here. On your next inhale, slide your left hand back. Travel across the mat as if you were one of those gods traveling through so many different adventures. Now your hands are separated to the imaginary 10 and 11. Keep the left hand short. The right hand's going to go long. You're pouring halfway down, and again, check in. This might be enough. If you want to gain a little more, push the left hand forward, draw the right hand back, and you're not literally sliding your hands, you're just activating the hands to deepen the work. But make sure if you deepen that, you can still openly and effectively breathe. Inhale, gently slide your right hand back. Bring it back to the tabletop position, facing 12. Now we'll forget about that clock. Send the right hand towards the top corner of the mat. And as you exhale, you're going to slide it back and flip it. And then inhale, circle that arm up and over, rocking the hips up. And then exhale, sliding it back. Just opening up some range of motion. And the next time you glide forward, you can place the right hand down. Bring the left hand to the corner of the mat. Slip the hips back towards the heels. Flip the left hand upside down. And then inhale, circle it up and over. Inhale lifts you. Exhale takes you back. The next time you glide forward, plant your left hand. Now see if it's possible to sit back towards your heels and separating your knees. If that's not okay for your ankles, your knees, your hips, stay in tabletop, okay? What we're gonna do is spin the hands as best as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is a good stretch to help to prevent carpal tunnel. But we're gonna do the lion's breath, since one of the labors of Hercules was to slay the lion. The lion's breath looks like this. We breathe in, and we exhale, we expel the tongue. 2 more. Last one. Good, gently release the hands one at a time. Good, come back to a tabletop position, spinning the hands back around long enough for you to walk your hands back towards your knees. And I'm gonna use this today. I'm gonna use the blanket under the knees because I think that will help with this cork mat. Oh, aren't you smart, Kate? So this is a pose that I often do when I bring up the Sri Bhagavad Gita. In the Sri Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the charioteer of the main character Arjuna. And he's kind of his mentor, and he's teaching him all about yoga, but he's also teaching him to live out his dharma. And through taking action, releasing the attachments towards the outcome, okay? So we're gonna inhale, lift the arms up. And as we exhale, we're gonna twist to the right, separating the arms. Good, so we're gonna be like the charioteer. We're gonna be like the Krishna leading the chariot here. As you exhale, you're gonna lean back. And as you inhale, you're gonna drive forward. Good, exhale, lean back. Sneaky quad work. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Good, inhale, the arms up. Exhale, twist left and lean back. Inhale, pull forward. And exhale back. Continue that a couple more rounds. Inhale, both arms up. Good, exhale, bring the hands down to tabletop position. Curl the toes, lunge into downward facing dog. There will be one point through this flow where we will be coming back down to the knees. So if you want to remove the blanket or if you'd like to keep it there, just make sure we'll be stepping over it. And I don't want it to become a tripping hazard. Now let your head bow between the arms, root through the hands and the feet, and lift higher through your seat, as if you were like Hanuman flying up towards the sun. Breathe. On your next inhale, let's travel the feet forward towards the top of the mat. And we will be doing about 3 Surya Namaskaras, which help to salute the sun. As you inhale, come all the way up. And as you exhale, bring hands to Namaste. All right, inhale, we're bending the knees, lifting the arms up to Utkatasana. From Utkatasana, hands together and fold down. Inhale, halfway up, look out with your eyes. And as you exhale, you can step it back to plank. You can rock forward and lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Feel free to hover and hold. But then inhale, lift into upward facing dog. Exhale, you're coming down and floating your hands, keeping the feet on the mats, breathing in a diaphragmatic way. So when you're breathing through the diaphragm, you'll feel yourself rising on the inhale, slightly dipping on the exhale. Hands to the floor, shift up, back up, Lean into extended child's pose, representing those stories of when they were young. Rock up to table. Launch into downward facing dog. Now when you return to downward facing dog here, we're actually going to step the right foot forward and up between the hands. When you step the right foot forward, this is where we're going to be bringing the back knee down. So you can bring the blanket in for extra support. Once you do that, you can also use blocks. So feel free to use those at any height. When you take this half lunge, have the knee aligned over that front ankle. And what we're going to do is stretch back. Now the blocks can walk back. You can flip the foot, reside on the heel. And this is half Hanumanasana, the half splits. So the splits are used in yoga to represent Hanuman because of that story I shared of when he leapt from one landmass over the sea to another. Now, let's rock it back and forth. Decide if you need the blocks or not. Coming into the half lunge, rocking back into half splits. Sending it forward into half lunge, and backing off into the half splits. Hold for 3 breaths. Once you've completed, you send the foot down, curl the back toes under, lift the back knee up, and step back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now I'm going to give you a choice today since we're doing V Surya Namaskaras. You have a choice to take a vinyasa here, or to be in down dog, or to rest in child's, okay? So you have 3 options: child's pose, down dog, or vinyasa. Rocking forward to plank if you choose the last. Dropping to chaturanga. Building into your back bend. Skipping the cobra and rolling back to down dog. Now that we're back together, if you're in child's, return to down dog. We'll step the left foot forward, and you can always rock up to table, and of course step the foot forward as well. Sink the back knee. Check it out here. Maybe you want to begin with blocks and just test the waters. And then exhale, you can walk the blocks back, lifting the toes. And then we'll come back to the sole of the foot, and then you can choose blocks or not, rocking back and forth between the 2 asanas. By the way, if you find certain days or times, or maybe later in life when you're becoming arthritic, you know, some of these longer holds can be aggravating. And so that little motion of coming in, going out, in and out can be quite helpful. So remember that if you're in a class with long holds, it's okay to, you know, personalize your practice. Okay, now curl the back toes under. You're lifting that back knee up. When you're ready, you're stepping into Adho Mukha Svanasana. So in the B Sun Sals, we have 3 vinyasas. And again, you have choices. You're welcome to take child's. You're welcome to stay here. You're also at liberty to take the vinyasa. We'll just be doing cobra in the first vinyasa. Now breathe. Breathing well in a pose, bring the pose to life. Inhale, you can meditationally walk forward, you can lunge forward, you can float forward. I'm baby stepping. Lift up, lengthen out, and exhale, spill down. Inhale to chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, namaste. Second round. Inhale, chair. Exhale, forward fold. Use your breath. Inhale, halfway up. Look out. Exhale, step it back, plank. Rock it forward, lower down, chaturanga. You can always lower the knees to modify. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, we're coming down to cobra. Float the hands, baby cobra. This represents the snakes of the story. We can strengthen the diaphragm muscle that helps to control the vacuum effect of the breath. Lower the hands, push up, lean back to child's. Rock up, hands and knees. Exhaling, downward facing dog. And on your next in-breath, we're going to step the right foot forward and up between the hands. We're going to ground the back heel down since you're kind of low and you can spread out. You may need the blocks in a little bit, so grab them. They may come in useful. And then rise up to warrior one. So remember, these gods were great warriors and had to fight battles. Framing the face with the arms, lifting up through the sternum, grounding through the feet. Now as you exhale, you're going to bring the hands down and you're going to spin off the back heel. You're going to lunge the front knee. Now it may determine whether you need blocks or not when we do the next step, which is pressing into the right foot, straightening the right leg. You're going to stay on the ball of the back foot. This is a standing form of Hanumanasana, or a standing form of split. We're not going into the splits today, by the way, it's too early. Lunge the knee. I know I usually do that with Hanuman. Inhale, straighten out. If Kaylee was here, I'd let her do it though. Exhale, bend the knee.
Splits on the blocks.
Yeah. Straighten out. Lunge the knee. Good, one more, back and forth between the two. Good, you may want to move those blocks out of the way, planting the palms, stepping back to plank. Now again, this is where you have a choice, child's, down dog, or vinyasa time. Don't let the ego get in the way. Listen to your higher self. From returning to downward facing dog, or if you're not there, join us. Inhale, the left foot's gonna step through. The back heel's gonna lower again. Since you're closer, you may wanna find those blocks and build up to warrior one. Front knee lunging, back leg straightening, hips teeing off, gazing straight ahead, being alert, being highly aware of your surroundings. Warrior has to be to protect themselves. Exhale, bring the hands down. Spin to the back toes and feel how the right hip wraps around. Lunging the left knee and then straightening the left leg. And just rocking back and forth at the same pace of your breath, and allowing the breath to lead and guide your movement. Once you return to the lunge, separate the blocks, step it into plank. Again, choices, child's, down dog, or vinyasa. breath. Let's bring the feet to the top of the mat, however you want to get there. I'm baby stepping this morning. Lengthen up and down. Exhale, dropping in. Inhale to Utkatasana. The arms can lift straight up as you bend the knees. And exhale, Samastitihi. All right, we're doing one more. Inhale, take chair. Exhale, forward fold. In and halfway up. Out and step it back. And lower down. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, come down to the belly. Float your hands and breathe. Hands down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, extended child's. And let your elbows kind of slide in and rest. Breathe into your thoracic spine, the mid part of your back. Inhale, rock up hands and knees. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. All right, from here we're going to do a couple more warrior poses. We're going to start off stepping the right foot forward, grounding the back heel down, and we're going to helicopter the arms up to Virabhadrasana 2. Arms spread out. Gazing towards the front hand, and now flip that hand, and inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, come back to warrior 2. Inhale, reverse it. Exhale, warrior 2. Last one, inhale. Exhale, be here. And I want you to affirm, I joyfully manifest the power of my own strength, internal and external. Helicopter the hands down, spin off the back heel, right foot plank. Again, choice, child's, down dog, or vinyasa. Please listen to your body. Once you cast the hips up and back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, pause here, breathe. Now inhale, left foot's going to step through. Give yourself a helping hand. Plant your back foot. Bring the right arm up first, then the left. You're trying to make kind of a 90-degree angle with that front thigh, but I realize it's early and it may be too much. Flip the left palm. Inhale, lift it skyward. Exhale, return. Inhale. And exhale. Third round. Now hold Virabhadrasana 2 for the affirmation. Affirming in your mind, bringing it down into your heart. Joyfully manifest the power of my own strength. Exhale, hands come back down, spin off the back heel. Last vinyasa. And holding and breathing in downward facing dog. So let go in your neck. Find the strength within this pose. And then we'll conclude the sun sounds by bringing the feet to the top of the mat, however you want to arrive. And exhale, release. Now before we come up, I want you to bend the knees. And just let your chest drape down, your arms drape down, your head drape down, a standing form of child's pose. And then inhale, shoot the arms forward and up. Utkatasana. Exhaling, Samastiti. All right, since Hanuman was the son of Vayu, the god of the wind, I think of the wind when I do this pose. You're gonna have your feet separated. Have a looseness to your legs, a softness to the knees. And we're gonna do that twisting kriya. Plus it's hot, and this could be like air conditioning for the body. To catch that breeze when you spin from side to side. And then we'll slow it down. Oh, one of the labors I just remembered was something to do with poisoned horse feces. Sounds lovely, right? So separate your feet, turn the feet out, and take the horse squat, but instead of doing the Kali arms, we're bringing hands to prayer position at the heart. So this will represent the horse amongst the 12 labors.
I don't remember that one.
The horse squat?
No, the
poison horse feces?
Gotta reread
It's
that.
lovely, right?
Yeah. I remember murder horses, but I don't remember that part.
One more breath. And then inhale, slowly straighten up. Turn the feet forward. Walk them together. And we're going to come down to the floor. So if you don't want to go down through toe balance, just come on down. So lift the arms up if you're going to join me. First, bend the knees and do this variation of chair. Now the heels can be down if you need that balance. But if you want to challenge your balance, you can lift them up. And then for toe balance, we jump lower. Hands to prayer. And then gently release to the floor. Or find your own safe way to the floor. Left leg out. The right knee will open out to the side. Janu Shirshasana. Lift the arms up. And exhale, we're going to pour over. Press down to the back of the left thigh. Draw the heart forward. Try to stay on the center of your left heel. Toes turned up. But your awareness turned in. Affirming here as you hold left and right and all around. Life's harmonies are truly mine. And inhale, you can just walk your hands back and gently come up. All right, we'll lift the right knee, slide it out, bend the left and open from the hip. Toes lift up, stay on the center of the heel. And that's another thing you can notice about how your alignment is. If our feet are off with alignment, it's going to eventually affect the knee and the hip. It'll eventually continue to move up the back and into the neck. So the feet is actually a very important piece of yoga. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold. Finding that sweet spot where you can hold and manage your breath. bright and all around, life's harmonies are mine. Inhale, walk the hands back, re-erect the spine, lift the left knee, slide the leg out. Re-bend your right knee. Hook a hold of it with your left arm, but pause. Because some people, I've noticed, will grab it and you see how they're rounding, shortening, and then twist. But we actually want length. So we're opening up space between each vertebra so that we can get the circulation into those spongy discs. After the age of 30, we don't quite get the right circulation, but the twist can help to manipulate that and bring it in. So it's saturating it, making the back more supple. So once you have a hold of the left knee, or the right knee with the left arm, lift up, invest in the lengthening of your back, then rotate around to the right with the right hand behind your back. And only turn your neck to the degree that feels comfortable. You don't have to crank it all the way around to look over the back shoulder. Close the eyes. Or look out sharply through the right corner of the eyes, part the drishti. So I mentioned Krishna is very compassionate, very loving. I want you to affirm mentally within. I radiate my love and my compassion to soul friends everywhere. And exhale, unwind. Slide your right leg out, bend your left knee, take a hold of it with the right arm, and notice how we can slump in our back and in our side body. So really extend. Left hand behind as you rotate to the left. Again, find that place of comfort in the range of your neck. Chin parallel to the earth. The eyes can be closed, or if they're open, looking sharply through the left corner of the eyes, Parshva-drishti. And that brings in a little eye yoga, you know. The eyes are a muscle as well. And then inhale, lift. And exhale, unwind. All right, we're gonna open that left knee and slide the right foot in. Now, instead of bringing feet all the way forward, now if you have a history of, say, herniated disc, I would like you and prefer for you to do this. Feet closer, back straighter. If you don't have any of those issues, I would rather you create more of a diamond shape with the legs and do it more in the yin butterfly way. So just slide your hands towards the feet, if you're gonna do it this way, and round down. So pick one or the other, the one that suits you and your needs. This pose where the head is hanging, if you are in fact rounding, sometimes I like to lean the head one direction, maybe off to the left or the right. Being there for a bit and then leaning it over to the other. This really can help to open up the connective tissue, some of the fascia. If you are leaning the head, bring it back to center and slowly start to lift the head up. walk your hands back towards your upper body and then back the torso up so the spine's more erect. Alright, we are going to use this bolster and the blocks. And we're going to take the blocks under the thighs and the bolster up underneath the spine. And of course, the blocks can turn different directions. And if that's not comfortable for you, then you can straighten your legs. Or take another position altogether. You do have a washcloth as well as an eye bag. If you want to place those over your eyes or brow, feel free. And so I know those of you that are in my classes a lot, you've heard me talk a lot about Hanuman. The one I like to reference as being close to Hercules. Hanuman is the deity that they look to for like bhakti yoga because he was so devoted. There's even one depiction of where Hanuman opens his chest to reveal Rama and his beloved resting in his heart, representing that balance of the divine masculine and feminine. But also consider the love and the compassion of Krishna, and how we speak about how love and compassion stem from the heart. So take a few moments to take residence there in your own heart. Take a moment to bring the awareness down into your feet, relaxing your toes, the arches, and the ankles of both. And then bring that wave of relaxation through your calves, knees, thighs, and hips. On your next in-breath, envision the breath is filling up the lower body. And as you exhale, envision that all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness is flowing out and away. And soften your belly, your low back, your chest, and your mid and upper back. And once you bring softness to the torso, take a deep breath in, filling it up. As you exhale, imagine that all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness is flowing out and away. relax your shoulders and soften down through your arms, hands, and fingertips. And take a breath, envisioning you're filling up the arms. And as you exhale, imagine any and all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness is draining out and away. And soften or relax your throat and neck. You can even swallow. Breathing into the throat. And as you exhale, envision all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness is flowing out and away. Soften the facial muscles, soften your jaw, and even relax your sensory organs, your brow and your scalp. Breathing in and up to this region, and breathing out, imagining all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness is draining out and away. When you're ready, slowly begin to lift your knees. Slide one block away so that you can roll to that side of your body. Come up to a comfortable seat. Take your time. Sitting attentively, but with the eyes turned down. As you inhale, I want you to imagine that you're pulling in a stream of light through the third eye to the center of the head. And as you exhale, bring that light down into your heart. Inhale, breathing in the light through the mind's eye to the center of the head. And to exhale, let it stream down into the heart. Breathing in the light through the mind's eye. And dropping it down on the exhale into the heart. Bring your palms together and let your thumbs touch your brow. The place where we receive the messages from our higher self. And then drop the hands down to the heart and bow your head. In the place of the true intuitive center, where the higher self resides. The light within me honors and bows to the beautiful radiant light in each of you.
Namaste. We're gonna do a mantra. So